Today, the Yosemite Mountain Sugar Pine Railroad recreates this fascinating time in history.
We went over and surveyed the locomotives that were available, and we found that the 15 was the one that we were most interested in. So over a period of about a year and a half of negotiating and finally acquiring the locomotive in 1986 in September, we arranged to have it moved from Tuolumne, which was about 100 miles. And this involved a very tedious process, first finding a trucking company that can haul a 60-ton locomotive, and then secondly, getting the appropriate permits from the state in order to move this much weight down the highway system. So that took us probably as much as 2 months just to arrange all of this. And then in September of '86, we were able to move the locomotive up here, which we had about a day and a half involved in loading it, and then another 2 days shipping it here. Another half a day unloading it at this location. The way it's transported is it's winched up onto a low bed trailer using a ramp that has rails built right up the ramp and onto the bed of the trailer. So that's kind of an oversimplification, but that's the basic idea. And then when it's taken off of the truck, it's just done in reverse. The gooseneck is dropped down off of the trailer, and the rails are tied in with the rails in the yard, and then it's lowered down with a winch and cable.
Authentic Shea steam locomotives operate over narrow gauge tracks where log trains once rolled.
You're sitting at about 5,000 feet above sea level, and in this part of California, this is a typical forest. It's made up of 5 trees. Every tree around you is either a ponderosa pine, a sugar pine, a white fir, black oak, or cedar.
The 4-mile, 45-minute narrated excursion through the Sierra National Forest transports visitors back in time to when the long, lonesome steam whistle and the cry "timber" echoed through the mountains of central California.
It gives me a lot of satisfaction and a lot of pleasure doing this, because it's something that brings back an era in history that without these tourist railroads would not exist today.
The narrow gauge track runs along one of the original logging grades used between 1908 and 1924, when timber was still being hauled to the sawmill.
30,000 acres were logged out of here between 1901 and 1931. The area would be generally a mile or so this side of Bass Lake up to around and past Wawona.
There's a total of 10,500 feet of track, with a tie every 2 feet and 20,000 spikes, all of which are maintained and inspected year-round.
I'm not a track work expert, but we probably replace on an average about 400 to 500 ties a year on the railroad.